Welcome back to the show. It's time for us to talk entertainment, and I have a special guest here with me, a good friend of mine, but a very good actor, if I say so myself. This is the only time you'll hear me say it, though. Daniel Etim Effiong, how are you doing?
Hey, how
People call you Etim a lot.
Yes, they do.
But it's not your name.
It's my name.
It's
my
your name or your
middle
surname?
Yeah, no, it's my middle name.
Yeah.
So my name is Daniel, my middle name is Etim, and my last name is Effiong. What I've done is for my family, like your dad did,
With
I've added Etim to my last name for my
Okay.
kids and my wife, so they are Etim Effiongs.
Okay.
Yes, but my first name is Daniel, my middle name is Etim.
Interesting. Was that a conundrum for you when you were trying to get into acting? Because I know people will try to use names that would stand out. And professionally, you don't use Daniel a lot. I see a lot of Etim Effiongs in credits.
Right, yeah, because when I started off, also as a creative, behind the camera, as a writer, director, producer, I wanted something that sounded a bit more different, a bit more Nigerian, a bit more African and arty, that whole idea of art, exactly, authentically African, yeah. So I used to go for Etim Effiong, as a brand name. But then later I said, Daniel is a cool name as well, so I'll go with the full name, Daniel Etim Effiong.
Yeah.
So that's what I go by.
This your acting dream, I know you did go to film school, but before that, you studied
Chemical engineering.
What happened to that? Was it ever a plan, or did you just study it because that's what JAMB gave you?
Yeah, I studied it because I was great at it. After secondary school, I did the sciences in secondary school, and my teachers were like, you have to do engineering or one of those courses, professional courses, and I opted for chemical engineering because there were members of my family who were in the oil and gas industry that set the trail for us, blazed the trail for us. So we're like, okay, we're going to go into oil and gas. Yeah, so that's what I did. And I was in oil and gas for 2-3 years, and I was like, I wasn't getting satisfaction from it or fulfillment, and I said, because I was also doing art on the side, so I'd go to my 9 to 5, but in the evenings I'll go to Bogobiri for open mic and do all this spoken word and stuff, and then I'd have some acting gig on the side. So I just felt, that gave me more fulfillment, and every time I did it, the response was always great. The feedback was like, Daniel, you're great at this. Why aren't you doing it full time? So I had a little chat about it with my folks and decided I was going to do it full time.
That looks like a tough call to make, because thinking at the time, Nollywood, oil and gas, what was the driving force behind? Passion is great.
It definitely wasn't money.
Yeah,
it definitely wasn't money. I mean,
did you have a plan?
Kind of. At the time, so I had tried and failed to make the switch before. When I was in university, I had told my folks I felt that heavy, drive and passion for entertainment. And I told my parents that I was going to quit engineering in my second or third year and go study theater art, go start over again. And they thought I was crazy. They had to call family meeting, and they were like, no, Daniel, you're being distracted, focus. So that just killed the dream at the time. Then it came again 2 years into oil and gas, and I knew this time I had to do something different. I didn't tell anyone about it. I just prayed, fasted, and really thought about it, and I said, you know what? Now's the time to make that leap. If you fall or you make a mistake, then you can always come back. But trust me, immediately I took the leap of faith, I've just been flying since after that.
You also have a background in production.
Yes, I do.
Was that your first sort of way in?
No, acting was my first love. I used to act in church, I used to act in school, I used to act at every opportunity I had. But storytelling, production, directing, producing came as a soft landing for me. My first job after I quit engineering was a 9 to 5 with Ndani TV as a content producer. So that was soft landing because it was structured salary and all of that. And I used that to convince my folks. I was like, I quit my job, but hey, I got another job, 9 to 5, structured salary, but as a content producer with Ndani TV. So that's where all my production experience came from. Then I went to film school in South Africa, where I studied writing and directing. And then after that, went on to do TV commercials, sign up with an agency. So my production life was existing in parallel to my being in front of camera life, of my acting career.
We'll take a quick break and come back. Please stay with us.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
Welcome back to the show. If acting is your first love, why writing and directing? Does it make you a better actor if you know these things?
For me,
Or
it
if you're
gives
good
me
at those
better
things?
fulfillment.
Okay.
Does it make you a better actor? Yes, because then you understand story, you understand story structure, you understand when the director is speaking to you. You understand it a bit more because you also have the experience of communicating your ideas to an actor.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, storytelling is the first love. You know, however. Whatever gives me control of story is what I want to do. So directing and writing gives me more creative control of the story. Acting, you have internal control only. You have control of your physical being, of your mind, you know, to deliver what has been given to you by the director.
So you've come into the industry, not necessarily come, but you've become Etim Effiong in the industry at a very interesting time. You know, we're seeing sort of what you can call a revolution in the industry. The streaming platforms are flooding in. We're suddenly seeing collaborations internationally. Movies are showing at international film festivals like yours is about to. But it's also at a time when people are starting to wonder, are these actually actors that are worth their salt? You know, we hear terms like Instagram actors or reality stars who just become actors. You know, people always tell you, nowadays, you know, we had to go through the Asaba and Enugu and, you know, actually grind to get to this point. Do you ever feel like you are at a point where you need to prove yourself to an audience that is very critical of your industry and the kind of actors that we have now? Not that it's a bad thing or the actors are bad, but there's that perception that, oh, this guy's got it easy.
Yeah, I mean, I get that from time to time, but the truth is, if you are a creative, you're a true creative, you know that you can only be true to yourself and the material you're given. We're not creating to impress people. We're not creating to get on some top 10 list or some blog or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it pays to be there and it pays to have all those perks. But, you know, for me, my first responsibility is to be true to myself and the emotion I'm being asked to portray, you know, and the truer you get to that point, the better off you are as an actor. You know, every new job is an opportunity to be truer to yourself and the material, you know. So that's my goal, that's my challenge every time, to best myself, to be true to what I'm giving. So I think back and, you know, the last job, how true was I to this material, you know, and to the job I'm getting now, you know, how can I be even truer, you know. So that's always it for me, you know. I'm hardly ever concerned about, you know, being compared to other actors or other industries and stuff. I just want to be true to myself. And Aramdi told me something. Sorry to drop that name, but yeah, he told me something. He said, Daniel, he said, you know, like, I mean, and I'm not trying to compare myself to him or anything, but he said, we have nothing to prove, you know, like, we are kings of our storytelling, you know, here and now. You know, we're in Nollywood for such a time as this for a reason. You know, I'm not going to try to be someone else in some other industry. No, it's here and now, and I must be the best that I can right now.
Fair enough. Let's talk about you now and your roles, which have been quite interesting over the years. I mean, and we live in a country where sometimes people don't know when to blur the lines between what is fiction or what is art and what is reality. You know, I would say, this Daniel must really like older women. You know, stories like that. You suddenly, for a while, became the lover boy in a lot of series and TV and movies and all of that. Was that intentional on your part? Because people always say the biggest markets are the women in arts, whether you like it or not. Was that intentional on your part to be like, okay, let me pander to these people, get, you know, the wave going, and then see where it takes me? Or were you just typecast a lot?
I think the latter is the case. I wasn't intentional about positioning myself to be a lover boy. On the contrary, I do appreciate other roles that take me out of what I look like. You know, I like playing odd characters, madman, poor man, conductor, you know, all these random roles rather than just be you. You know, sometimes you get a job and director's like, you know, now just be yourself, just be your, you know, you'll be fine, boy. I'm like, no, that's not why I'm here. You know,
It doesn't push me.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make my creative juices flow. You know, but I think it has happened and I've embraced it because I keep getting great feedback from the audience. And the truth is, we're doing it for them. You know, what they want is what we give to them. It's a market where there's a trade. You know, you give them and they give you back. So I'm killing it and I'm enjoying it.
Very important. Your wife comes up a lot when people watch these movies, and they're like, "Oh, what does she think?" You know, you don't necessarily speak on it. I don't know why. I mean, it must be personal reasons. But does being married to someone in the industry help? Because, I mean, we've seen a lot of this series. There's a lot of passion sometimes. You know, does it ever? Is it a conversation you guys have, or does she just understand it? I'm just trying to understand, for people to understand, because people always have something to say when there's a clip of Etim Effiong that shows up in bed or in a situation, and people are like, but he's also an actor. So how do you navigate?
I mean, we talk about it all the time. The safe thing to do is to come and report yourself
before the movie is
before
out.
she sees it on screen, you know. So that's what I do. I come and say, you know, I come home and I'm like, okay, I had a really interesting scene today, and this is what happened, you know. But she's in the industry as well, so she understands. I mean, she trained in New York Film Festivals, New York Film School, Film Academy. So she understands the process. She understands what it entails, you know. So we talk about it a lot, and I sort of like shield her from it, you know. So I tell her what she needs to know. Exactly. I won't come and rub in the face like, oh my goodness, you see the scene that I did today. No, absolutely not.
Let's not do that.
None of that, you know. So I'm very open with it as well. You know, when I might be getting into trouble, I report myself. I'm like, okay, so there's a situation we need to talk about, and try to be as open as possible, you know. So yeah, that's how we manage
Do
it.
people cross the line sometimes?
Absolutely.
Whether actors or fans?
Absolutely.
With action?
Yes, that happens. More with
How do you handle that?
Yeah, more with the fans and the actors, because I like to think all my, you know, colleagues are professional. But how do I handle it? I understand that it's a human thing. I've been on their side of the divide before. I have crushed on actresses before, or even So what I do is I convert them to friends, you know, especially for the ones that come really hard.
Friend zone.
No, well, you know, so I try to talk them through it and say, you know, like, hey, you know, convert them to friends, introduce them to the family if I must, you know, and just play safe, you know. That's the key for me. What's safe? You know, have boundaries. Always have boundaries. And I'm learning through the process. You know, I won't claim that I have everything figured out. You know, I'm learning through it, and I'm getting help as well. Very important.
Are there things you've had to turn down with this lover boy?
In terms of roles or advances?
Yes. I want to believe you're turning down advances for your sake. But I'm talking about roles. Are there things, or you've seen, okay, maybe this is a little too far now? Have there been situations like that?
I have turned down roles.
For those reasons is what I'm talking about, where maybe it's you being a lover boy and there are things you have had to do.
Not yet.
And you're like, okay, nobody's asked for anything crazy.
That
Or
I
you've
haven't
not
been
been
able to deliver. Yes, I mean, also because I understand also that the industry is at a stage right now that you can shoot something, but you won't be able to show it. You know, where are you going to show it?
Yeah.
You know, you want to cross lines, you want to, you know, go to the extreme, and you want to be creative, but where are you going to show it? There's the Nigerian Census Board. There are all these people who have stop gaps to protect the audience from some of these things you're creating. You're not going to have a platform for that. You know, so already there are measures in place to protect the audience as well as the actor. So you don't get a lot of really, well, I haven't gotten a lot of really crazy requests from
If
filmmakers.
the census board was a little more liberal, would you take those roles?
If they're willing to pay for it, probably I think about it.
And it's not a problem with, well, your wife is in industry, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also the issue of my faith as well, and what my faith accommodates. You know, there's, as long as, you know, I'm not crossing lines with my wife and family, I'm not crossing lines with my faith. And it's art also. And I really believe in expression, in true expression. Does it exist in our society? Do we need to, you know, point a flashlight on it? Then let's tell that story.
Is arts, I feel like arts is used to explain away a lot of things. Is it always art, though?
Absolutely. Well, it's expression. Art is expression. Does it exist? Do we need to talk about it? Do we need to have conversations about it? then let's have conversations.
Are you happy with where Nollywood is today? I mean, the talk is always about how Nollywood sort of took off before the music industry. The music industry has, it's crazy what's happening there.
Yes,
I mean, not
yes.
to say that Nollywood is
Yes.
not advancing, but are you happy with where we are today? We've talked a lot about structure. Nobody seems to explain what structure really should
Right.
look like. But things are happening, especially with all of these guys coming in now. Are you
Right.
happy?
Well, I'm happy. I think we can do a lot more. We can do better. I just think that the industry is a reflection of where the country is right now, per the lack of structure. But the music industry is kind of different. You don't need, filmmaking is capital intensive. You know, you need a village to make a film. To make music, you probably need fewer people, a lot less people to make a track or to make an album. To make a film, you need an entire nation, you know, and it's also very capital intensive. So I understand the struggles. I understand, you know, we have a long way to go, but we'll get there. I think we're a little behind the music industry, but I think we're progressing and we'll get there.
Congratulations on Collision Course. I know it's at the top of the Netflix top 10 chart and all that.
Thank you.
You're also going to be showing at a few festivals, I believe. What did that role do for you? It was different for you on a lot of levels. You know, is that what you mean when you say you like to play those sort of roles?
Absolutely. First of all, this is one of the few roles I've done that it took a lot for me physically, not just mentally and emotionally. Physically, I was buffeted. I was thrown out of buses. I was dipped in, you know, poop water, you know, in the Lagos Lagoon. It was really hard to film it, physically hard, you know, so it took a lot from me. But the results have been fantastic. The feedback, you know, has been great. I love that people get it and people love it. You know, I've done a couple of films where my character dies in the end, and then, you know, well, not to give spoilers away, but, you know, I just have amazing feedback from the audience. And what he has done for me is it has just put me on a pedestal where people can actually relate, you know, with the role I'm playing. Before now, I just have a group of people who see me as fine boy. Hey, yeah, that's the fine boy. That's the you know, that's the bloke. But now they see me as one of them. They see me as theirs. They have embraced me as a struggling artist, you know, and yeah, I'm really grateful for it.
What's next for you? What should we be looking forward to? You are very busy. I feel like you have a list of things.
Listen,
but
yeah,
what's coming? Maybe in the year, before the end of the year, in the next year, maybe?
There are a number of collaborations coming up. I'm making a film.
Quite some time internationally as well.
Yes. The plan for me is, you know, my brand, what I'm projecting is the African actor, not necessarily Nollywood actor, the African actor. So I like to work across board with South Africans, with Kenyans, you know, even Ghanaians, sisters, you know. So yeah, lots of international collaborations. Also, I'm looking at directing my own film. So I'm working on that, you know, fingers crossed it happens end of this year or beginning of next year, first quarter next year. There's also an interesting project coming up where we're collaborating with actors from Hollywood, the offshoot of the AMVCAs. You know, it's still hush hush, but looking forward to that. Yeah, really exciting projects coming up.
Awesome stuff, man. Congratulations on everything. I'm definitely rooting for you. You know I'm a fan, and I know you are going to. Just don't forget us when the Hollywood happens.
Thank you
officially. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a quick break now and be right back. Please stay with us.